Hey everybody, I am meteorologist Mike Griffith for East Coast Weather Association, and I wanted to do a 30-day outlook for the eastern U.S. and much of what we're going to see over the next 30 days or so. And some of you like the cold weather or the cooler than usual weather, and I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised, especially because this summer is not as hot as last summer or the previous summer before that, and it's just going to be comfortable here in the East Coast of the United States. In fact, looking into next Monday, even starting on Sunday, this is the GEFS ensembles, and this is the Northern Hemisphere, what we're looking at right here. And these are the ensembles, which is an average of a bunch of different model runs all at once. And it doesn't take just one specific model into account and say that's it, because those are typically wrong in the long range. But we're looking at Monday here, and it looks like there's a lot of cooler than usual air here over much of the eastern U.S. as we're looking at the 2-meter temperature anomalies. And this is the deal pretty much Monday, Sunday, and the Monday next week. And as we step it forward in time here, we're looking at the continued cool spell here into early next week. And we're looking at Monday into Tuesday, even into maybe even a little bit of Wednesday. It's just going to be way, way chillier than usual. We're looking at the cooler air right here, even cold in the mountains of the western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, with some lows Wednesday morning next week, possibly reaching into the upper 30s, especially in the higher elevations. So this is going to be a big relief from the heat as we go into the 27th. Looking into later this month, later June, from now through the 30th or so, just continued cool in the east here. You can see this persistent cool pool of air in the eastern part of the United States. And this is looking at the 28th right now, which is Wednesday of next week. And then it stays cool and chilly here for much of the east through the end of June. And then as we start July, it's looking like it's going to be seasonable across much of the east here. It's not going to be a heat wave or anything too drastic. We're looking at dry conditions across the southeast here, and a little bit of a high tries to set in here over the Bermuda area and tries to pump in some warmer air across the mid-Atlantic and the Carolinas. But then as we go into the 4th, it's only average. It's not going to be anything significant. It's not going to be a huge 95, 100-degree heat wave or anything like that. And as we go into the beginning of July, we're looking at seasonable temperatures here, maybe a little bit chillier than usual through the middle of July. And we're looking into the 2nd or so. And here comes another cool outbreak of air. This is probably just going to be storminess across the northern plains. And that kind of will just bring a cold front in and just push east and just keep the northeast chillier than usual around the 2nd to the 4th of July. So again, looking a little bit cooler here than usual according to the ensembles in the northeast with rain. In the southeast, it's looking seasonably warm with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Nothing unusual for here. Normal low 90s here in the Florida. Nothing really to write home about. This is just going to be seasonable in the southeast, and it's going to be really cooler than average here across much of the northeast, including New England states. And that trend continues all the way into the middle of June. Looks like Canada is going to be the hotter area up here, and much of the rest of the world, including northern Africa into northern Europe, and even up into Spain and all that, and also into the Middle East here. Very hot over there as well, as it's also their summer over there, but they're feeling it much more than we are. We're going to be cooler than usual across much of the Northeast. There could be a couple of hot spells to start off July with the Bermuda high, but then it'll quickly go back into being below normal and cooler than usual to go through the middle part of the month. Again, we're looking at nothing really abnormal here through the middle of July. What I wanted to show you was is the Jetstream and how it's just going to remain active across much of the United States. Let's back it up here. I mean, this is really kind of a little unusual for this time of year. If it's going to be really hot across the east, we're going to see a very weak jet stream, and it's not going to be as strong as this. This is just going to be transporting a bunch of moisture from Asia and the eastern part of Asia and across the Pacific Ocean. And as long as this jet stream remains active, it's just going to continue to bring a lot of moisture and a lot of upper level energy into the United States. More severe outbreaks, more severe thunderstorms likely in the coming weeks and over the next 30 days for much of the northern U.S. and cooler than usual across the much of the Northeast, as this is a stormy pattern. And basically the rain is going to keep everything much cooler than usual here. Sorry about that. Here in the United States, and we're not really looking at a whole bunch of upper level ridges or anything like that, because that jet stream just keeps all the warm air down into the eastern part of the tropics, I should say. It just keeps all the warm air down in here. I mean, this is just a crazy jet stream, jet streak going into Western Europe from Eastern Canada. So this is just going to be like a vacuum, and it's just going to cause a lot of rain and storms and cool weather here across much of the east through the next 30 days or so. Like I said, there's going to be a couple of warm spells. There could be a couple of 90-degree plus days to start July, but then once that is over, then we go back into the stormy and wet pattern. And there could be a couple of tropical systems here of interest coming across the South Atlantic and into the Caribbean and even the East Coast, because these systems that form along the East Coast like to draw or suck up the tropical systems into them. So we're going to have to keep an eye through the middle of July in the tropics and make sure that none of those come up here and affect the East Coast or the Gulf even, because that is also a possibility, because there's lots of waves coming off the west coast of Africa. It's like a wave train right now. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Another thing I wanted to show you, which is really useful in the long range, is the sea surface anomalies here in the Pacific, or the Nino index. And right now it doesn't look like there's a lot of warm water here. There is a little bit over here, but it's only a slight warm bias in this area in here, which is what we look for our Nino index. And this is kind of like a slight positive El Nino, but not really much of one at all. And when it's neutral here over the equator, this is going to mean that the air here is going to be more stable than it was last year. So there's going to be less rising air in the Pacific, if you will. And in compensation for physics, in compensation over the Eastern Atlantic or over the Western Atlantic, Eastern United States, the air is not going to be sinking as much, which is high pressure and heat waves. It's going to be more, it's going to be allowed to rise more and be more stormy and cloudy and rainy than usual. And that is why I'm thinking that the next 30 days are going to be cool and wet for the most part. And a little bit of a treat. If this continues into winter and it doesn't get any warmer than this out in the Pacific along the equator, then that storminess will continue into the winter and for the eastern part of the United States, and that could be good for snow lovers. That's where I'm going to leave it right now. Thanks for watching. I hope I fulfilled your request. I am meteorologist Mike Griffith. Thanks a lot for watching this segment of East Coast Weather Association. Make sure you like us on Facebook, and always check out our site, ecwxa.com. For all the latest blogs and also the latest weather forecasting tools on there as well. Thanks a lot for watching.